I've recently been learning F2L on the 3x3 and I'm not very good at it at all, but here are a few basics so I can help remember what I've learned and what I need to practice. So I have done the white cross and now I need to do the corners. What I do is I look for white stickers that are on the top layer. Again, this is not necessarily the best way to do it, but this is how I do it. So here's one. However, this is what the edge is right next to it, because what we try to do in F2L is to match up the corner and the edge piece. So we can't have this like this. So what I do is rotate this slice to break these two up, just move it out of the way so I can return this slice to where it was so I don't mess up the white cross. And now I'll rotate the cube, which you wouldn't have to if you're actually solving this, but I can see that I broke up those two. And this is a case that I really like. It's when the white sticker is facing up. What you do is you find the other piece, and it's on the top layer. You find the color that's on the side, rotate the U slice so that it matches up with its proper center, so blue and blue, and then I'll just rotate this so you can see what I'm doing. You rotate the slice then that it's on so that it goes away from whatever the color is on top. So here's orange, so we want to go away from that. So I will rotate it that way. And then you do U moves, to rotate this slice around so that this white sticker is on top of that. I'll just rotate this so you can see, which you don't have to. And the nice thing about that then is when you return this slice back so that the white cross is still intact, this pair is paired up and it's all ready to go over the proper slot. So you just do a regular insert. And that has inserted those two. So that's one case I like. Now, another case is when the white sticker is on top like this, but it's facing to one of the sides. So first we need to find, what I do, and it's again not the most efficient, but I'll put this corner over where it belongs. So it's blue and red, so it would go here over the blue and red slot. Now I need the blue and red edge to match it up, which is over here. Since the two colors are the same facing on the top, what we need to do is put them so that they're together like this, so that the blues would be here and the reds would be here. And the way you do that is we're going to rotate this out of the way for a moment and bring this around to be here so when we come back up we catch it. Now, one thing to be careful about is if we rotate it right now, and then we're going to rotate this around, we are going to be messing up this piece. So right now it doesn't matter because it's not solved. But if this were solved, we'd have to do something differently, and I'll show you that in a minute. So this is okay right now. So we move this slightly out of the way for a moment. We rotate this U slice so this is lined up where it needs to be when we bring this back. We bring it back. Now those are paired up. And since this case we were able to start with it over where it belongs, it's above where it needs to go and ready to be inserted with a simple insert. So that worked well like that. Now, here's another one where the white is on the side. I would do it the same way. Probably I would move it over to where it belongs. So it's green and red, which would go over here. And then I find the edge piece for it, which is this one. So now this is a different case from before because the two stickers on top are different colors. In this case, we don't want to move this edge over to here because obviously red and green would not match up and green and red would not match up. So what we want to do is bring it opposite. So when we rotate this over, we'll match them up there. So to move this opposite to this, we need to move this out of the way for a minute and then rotate that. And again, if I move this out of the way, we have to be careful because it's going to mess up what was here. In this case, that's not solved, so that's okay. So we'll rotate this out of the way. We'll rotate this edge on this U slice over to where we want it. We'll bring this back up because we don't want to disturb the white cross. And now we're ready to go join it and rotate it around and insert it, just like that. Here's a special fun F2L case where we have the white cross solved, we're looking for F2L pairs, and we have this edge, orange and blue, correctly inserted already, but the corner that belongs down here is above it and the white sticker is facing up. Instead of separating these and then doing other moves like we've learned before, what we can do here is a couple of sexy moves. Actually, I think it's 2.5, and then they will be paired correctly and inserted all at the same time. So we do a sexy move, another one, and another one. And there we are. And just like that, those are paired. So that's a good one to look for. In the doing F2L cases that I just showed, all of the white stickers on the corner that we were looking for were already on the top yellow layer. But often, many times, of course, you'll encounter something like this, where the piece you want is on the bottom layer, and it's not oriented correctly. We did see an example where this was oriented correctly, so that's not what I'm talking about here. But what we want to do is just bring this up to the top layer, so that then we can do our moves that we have just discussed and insert it regularly. Now, in this case, there are probably at least 2 ways that you can bring it up. If I rotated the F slice, I could bring it up to the top that way, and then I could rotate it out of the way, bring this back down so the white cross is still intact, and then do the inserts and combinations like we talked about before where the white sticker's up. But instead of moving the F slice this way, we could also move the R slice up this way, and then instead of white being on top, when we rotate this out of the way and reset this, we're going to have green on top. So if we did that and left it like this, we'd still have to do more moves because we can't pair these up the way they are right now. But we can think a little ahead, and we know that since we're going to bring this up and green's going to be on top, it's the opposite color of what's on top over here. So we're ultimately going to want to pair them up by moving this corner to over here where we want this edge piece to be waiting for it. So when we move it, and when we move it, orange will be on top, or red, sorry, red will be on top, and this will be over there, red's on top, and they'll be paired up. So instead of moving it up just like that to start out with, we know we want this edge over here, so move this U slice first. So the edge is already there. And then when you move this up to bring it out of the bottom slice, it's already there. Now we need to reset the white cross, so let's move these out of the way so we can reset the white cross without affecting either one. Move this back to being above the corner where it needs to go. And this is now in the position where we can just rotate, match them up, bring it around, and insert. So that's always nice to think ahead of where you want to bring the piece up when it's not already on the top and you're bringing it up to pair up with one that is on the top. This is a case that I get fairly frequently when I'm doing F2L, and I have a pair that are already together, but they're not oriented correctly. Obviously, these are the right colors, but we need green on both of these. The edge is already in the right place, but obviously they need to be fixed. So you could break them both up and then fix them according to an algorithm that we've already talked about. Or what I do when they're in this position is I look at where the white sticker is. It could be either here or here. We've already covered the case where it's facing up. So if it's whichever way it's facing, I like to move the U slice sort of the furthest way away from it. So if I move, let's say, the U slice this way, the way I think of it, that's the closest to the white. So that's not the way I want to move it. The furthest away from this white is moving it this way. So we move it this way once. We pay attention to what color is on top. So it's green. And we know when we rotate the face down, then, in this case, green is going to be on top when we come back up. So the edge that we just brought up by doing that has green on top. So if they're the same, we want this green over here, because when we bring this back up, the green is going to be on top to meet it. So we rotate the U slice, we bring this F slice back up. We've now paired those. We rotate this back around, and now we're ready to insert in the normal way. This case is very similar to the last one where we have the pair that are already together, but they're not oriented correctly. The white sticker, however, is facing this way instead of over here, which we just covered. So I do a similar thing to what I did last time, which is move this U slice furthest away from the white. So the way I remember it, if it were closest to the white, I'd move it this way, but we're not doing that. We're moving it away from that. So we're just going to move it over here. We're going to pay attention to what color is on top, and we have red on top. So when we move this corner out of the way now, so we can bring this edge, again, we remember that this red was on top, so we see the edge piece that's on top is also red, and we know when we're pairing up F2L corners with edges, if the stickers are the same color, we need to have this edge piece positioned over here, right at the edge where the corner will come up to meet it. So we rotate the U slice once to put our edge piece right here, and now when we bring this slice back up, that has paired those up. They're not above their corner anymore, so we need to rotate the U slice around where they're above their corner and then just do a normal insert. And that has taken care of that case. Okay, I mentioned this a moment ago, but the cases I've shown you before, we didn't have to worry so much about the F2L pairs that were already solved because we were starting out and there really weren't any in our way. But in this case, we have the white cross and we have this pair solved, and this pair solved. So when we're working on this one, we have to be aware of these and not do any moves that would destroy those positions, or at least would reset them afterwards. So here's the corner we want. Orange is facing up, and the edge is over here with green facing up. We know when this is the case, since we know we can only move this corner two directions. It's in the way of the colors. I forgot to mention that. So we don't want to move it like this because that's moving in the direction of the white. We want to move it in the direction of the colors. So we can only move it this way or this way. And the idea, of course, is to get it off the U slice so that we can position the edge where we want it. Now we know when we have this corner like this, moving it over here so that we could then rotate the edge slice does nothing because it's still on the U slice. So we know that's the wrong way. So we want to move it back out of the way like this so that we can then rotate the U slice and position the edge where we want. But as you notice, this corner is already solved. So if we do that to move this out of the way toward us and then rotate the top slice to put the edge where we want it, we are disrupting this corner. So let's put it back. So instead of doing that, we don't start with the corner above the slot where it goes, but instead we move it 90 degrees so that when we do that move of moving it out of the way, just lost my focus. Okay. We won't disrupt a solved corner. So I'll rotate the cube, which you don't have to do, but to see what I'm doing. So we've moved this now 90 degrees. And now if I do that move where we're moving it out of the way, the only edge we're going to be, or the only corner we're going to be disrupting is not solved anyway, which makes sense because it's the corner above where this one is going to go. So now we can move this out of the way. We can rotate this top slice so that the edge is where we want it, opposite from where the corner is. bring the corner back up. And now we have these in the right relative positions where we can then move this over and join them up. But before we do that, we want to reposition this over the corner where it belongs. So now that it's over the corner where it belongs, we can just do our move of the right slice where they pair up, move the U over, and bring them back down. And that has taken care of that.